Greetings, YouTube. So conservatives have created a new conundrum about cancel culture. Much the way they've turned liberal into an invective, they've turned cancel culture into an invective. But you see, it isn't cancel culture. What it is consequence culture. And for most white people, particularly white men, they have never actually had to experience consequences. For the longest time, if you were a white, straight, cis man in America, there were no consequences to your action. You could say anything you wanted to. You could do anything you wanted to. You could belittle people, minority groups, women. You could touch them. You could hit on them. You could sexually assault them. And there were no consequences. But we've kind of moved the Overton window to the left just a smidge, a little bit more progress here. And now we're saying things like black people have intrinsic worth. Gay people have intrinsic worth. Trans people have intrinsic worth. Women have intrinsic worth. Muslims have intrinsic worth. Buddhists, you get the point. That everyone has intrinsic worth. And if you belittle them, or harass them, or assault them, you should be held accountable. There should be consequences for your bad behavior. And this is a shocking revelation to white people, that they could be conceivably be held accountable for what they have always gotten away with in the past. And that's when they talk about making America great again. That's what they want. They want the era when there were no consequences to their actions. They want that back. Because they're seeing their situation change, because now they're being held accountable, and to them that is undermining their entire way of life. That's just knocking the underpins from their very existence, which is both terrifying and sad, that the only way they can frame their existence is their capacity to harm others without consequence. And if you say no, if you harm others, we will hold you accountable, and then that makes them feel attacked. No, that's not how that works. Just like if some dude attacks you and you defend yourself with violence, you weren't the aggressor. You're just defending yourself against somebody else. You don't then get to the attacker then doesn't just to say, well, that guy attacked me. No, he didn't attack you. You attacked them. They defended themselves. And we are as culture saying, if you are aggressive towards minority groups or women or what have you, that we're going to hold you accountable. And we are going to suggest that, say, companies shouldn't hire people that march in the street with a torch in one hand and throwing up a Hitler sign, a Sieg Heil, while chanting, Jews will not replace us. That maybe I don't want to do business with a company that has that person on their payroll. Because if you keep them on your payroll, that means you endorse their actions. Doesn't that what it means? So they don't want to do business with them. So the company's like, there are consequences to your action. There's a reason that the racists of the past wore white hoods. For example, I don't buy Goya products anymore. Why? Because the owner of Goya products was sucking up to Dump, which is just baffling, seeing his company is aimed squarely at the Hispanic Latinx community. But I like their products, but now I don't buy them. I buy Badia for the most part, or just some generic things, but Badia makes some nice stuff as well. And to the best of my knowledge, they aren't suckling up to Dump. So I realized that my small gesture, my voting with my dollars, is a drop in the bucket, but there's a consequence to that person's actions, and that consequence is they don't get my money anymore. I just got rid of 2 t-shirts the other day. I put them in the donation pile on the porch. Why? Because both of them depicted John Cleese. And even though he will never make a dime off those, I bought them at a thrift shop. I cannot in good conscience wear those t-shirts because John Cleese has revealed himself to be a transphobe. So, yep, there's a consequence to that. I will no longer be able to associate myself with Monty Python because of him. And it's sad. I don't know if I'll ever be able to watch a bit with him in it ever again, now that I know that a man I thought was intelligent and witty is a bigot. It's sad, but it is what it is. He's being held accountable now because he's publicly stepped forward and declared himself to be a bigot. He's losing fans. I'm one. Just like J.K. Rowling is losing fans. Why? Because she's shown the world she's a bigot. There's a consequence to her action. And white people don't like that. So whenever someone says cancel culture, I know they're bullshitting me. They're throwing up smokescreen because they don't want to be held accountable for what they've done. They want the permission to be nasty and unpleasant and harassing and assaulting and oppressive and discriminatory. And they don't want to be held accountable for it. They just want to be able to be a grade A asshole 24/7 whenever they want to and get away with it. And now there are people in the world that are saying, we know you're an asshole and we're going to hold you accountable for it.